Rich Rising, everybody. This is your girl, Miss Maggie T, with Maggie T Mental Health and Wellness. I guess I wanted to come in because I have this on the brain and I wanted to talk about it. And since TikTok got me restricted till this afternoon, I can't go live because I normally would have this discussion with my panel. But you can find me on YouTube at Maggie T Mental Health and Wellness. I admit I haven't been as consistent with my motivational uploads, and I need to get back on it. So, hey, now's the better time to do it. But I'm going to talk about how to control your emotions in a relationship. I feel that as of lately, since I've been going live and interacting with people, a lot of people are going through relationship issues. It seems like that is the main topic of discussions. And a lot of people don't know how to just be to themselves. I'm one of those people that I'm okay with being by myself. I've been single for quite some time, and I'm perfectly fine with that. I don't have to jump into any relationship. I love my own company. I've done the inner work and the healing, and I feel like a lot of us need to do so. So this is going to be a little lengthy, a little bit longer than I normally with the quick videos and motivational updates. I just feel like I need to have this discussion, and you guys can, drop a comment. You can go on over YouTube and, extend it or what have you. But I just want to have this conversation. Our emotions will affect how we think, what we say, and what we do. Whether we can regulate and control our emotions can have a huge impact on our relationships. It's important to never repress emotions. Excuse me. We can take steps to better manage our feelings, and this can help us communicate better in our relationships, leading to a stronger, healthier bond. So I'm just going to talk about some tips to better control your emotions in relationships. You got to pause before you act or speak. Pausing before you act or speak is one of the most important ways of controlling your emotions in a relationship. It can be all too easy when you're hurt or angry to react and say or do something in the heat of the moment that you would later regret. So it's so quick to just lash out. This can just result in making the situation even worse. So instead, take a moment. Consider what will likely happen if you do or say your initial reaction. Will it matter or will it create more problems? You got to think about that. Take deep breaths. Taking deep breaths might sound simplistic, but it's an easy way to help control your emotions. Remember, we have to regulate our own thoughts and feelings. When you're upset, you likely go into flight or fight mode. This can make it a challenge to deal with a situation calmly. When you regulate your breathing, you can help regulate your nervous system. It can reduce feelings of anger and stress and help you feel calmer. So walk away just a little bit and come back to it. When you're calmer, you'll be able to process and regulate your emotions easier, and you'll be able to approach the issue with a clearer mind. I'm sorry, y'all. There's allergies and there's all this going on with this weather. Excuse me. Identify and process your emotions. This one can be a little tricky because it's important. You'll need to be able to identify what you're feeling at the moment. This will help you to process and manage your emotions better. For example, if your partner says or does something that makes you upset, take a second to try to determine exactly what it is you're feeling. Are you angry? Are you frustrated? Maybe you're anxious or sad. Maybe you feel neglected or ignored. You should try to remain objective when you observe your emotions without judgment. Being able to identify exactly what you're feeling will also help you communicate with your partner how you're feeling. Thinking about it and explaining yourself exactly how you're feeling is a good thing, but you got to take the time to think about what it is before you speak on it. Observe your partner's emotions. So you got to consider your partner's feelings as well. You and your partner are a team. As important as to observe your own emotions, you should also look into what your partner is feeling. Of course, the best course of action will be for you to both be able to communicate your feelings with each other. However, taking a moment to identify how your partner might be feeling about a situation can help you guide your next steps. I mean, it can be easy to get caught up in our emotions and we get into the arguing and pointing fingers. And that's when, the fighting begins. And then we don't resolve anything. Recognizing there are two people in this relationship and both of you will have your own feelings can help to improve your communication. So just be considerate, you guys. Identify your triggers. Learning what triggers your emotions can help you to manage them better. It's not always easy to determine what has made you feel a certain way. You might have to look back at past situations and analyze what happened to trigger those emotions that you felt. Keeping a journal can be a good way of observing your triggers. You can also look back on previous relationships to work out why you might now have feelings of jealousy and abandonment. I'm saying that a lot. Once you've identified the things that trigger your overwhelming negative emotions, communicate them with your partner, but come at it to a point where it's not a you, but it's I feel this way because of. We got to change the way we talk as well. It's all in our approach when it comes to these things. So, and also don't hold on to the negatives. It's important to work through and process negative situations. You shouldn't just ignore them. However, you shouldn't dwell on them either. Excuse me, this nose of mine, but I'm going to keep recording, y'all. If a negative experience such as a misunderstanding or conflict has since been dealt with, let it go. Stop holding on to it and bringing it back up. That is our problem. We say, oh, we're done with it. That's the end of it. Are you really? Dwelling on the negative would build feelings of resentment and put more strain on your relationship. If you feel like the situation hasn't been dealt with properly, you should communicate this with your partner and explain how you feel. Once you have reached a resolution, you should then be prepared to let it go and move on. Because you might find that you're projecting feelings that were initiated from a previous relationship or certain situations, and recognize this can help you to manage your feelings a lot better. And communicate without accusing. And that's what I was saying about the you. Healthy communication is a vital part of every healthy relationship. Both of you should feel comfortable discussing your feelings, both positive and negative. When you discuss a potentially negative situation or conflict, you should take care not to accuse your partner. Focus on your feelings using statements that begin in I feel or I think. And of course, there may be things your partner does that triggers certain emotions, but being too aggressive will likely make your partner feel defensive. And you'll end up not being able to communicate with each other properly. And when aggression meets aggression, right? And this is the one that's hard to practice, people, but keep a calm tone. Do you hear how I'm speaking to you? I'm very calm. And this message is meeting you well, I'm sure. So, as well as the words you use, the tone you speak with is also important. When you're upset, it's too easy to default to shouting. However, again, going to a conversation at this level isn't conducive to healthy communication. When you shout at someone, they'll likely shout back at you, and things can get out of control. You're fighting, you're throwing each other out, now you're in jail. Even if you're upset or angry, you got to try to maintain a calm and evening tone. It's early. I'm tongue twisted, but you get the message. Your partner will likely mirror back the tone sometimes. So it could mean you could both clearly speak to each other. Now, some people are just combative. Now, it might not work for all. So you know how to walk away from that situation when it's not meeting you. So be mindful of that as well. Some people just don't want to cooperate. Try to look at the facts. Sometimes our emotions can get the better of us. When we're feeling extremely sad, angry, or anxious, our feelings can obscure the facts of a situation. It can be a challenge, but taking the time to analyze what's actually happened can help us manage our emotions better. It will still be important to identify and process your emotions, as we have already discussed. But it's equally important to understand the facts and make sure we understand the situation. Sometimes this will involve looking at a situation ourselves, but it can also involve listening to our partner's viewpoints. So, taking their things into consideration, because maybe I was acting an ass, and maybe it's my fault. So taking that accountability. And then step away if you need it. And I already talked about this earlier, just kind of walking away and letting it die down just a little bit. Sometimes we need space to be able to properly regulate our emotions. If you're feeling overwhelmed in a situation, explain to your partner that you need some time. And they may blow you up and all that. Ignore those phone calls. And I know some people are iggy when it comes down to that, but you have to take that moment and not let the heat of the moment take over you. And I'm good for that. I'm good about protecting my peace and ignoring that person. They can cuss me out. I'll come back to it after a while. But taking some time away can help you to look back on what's happened with a clearer mind once your emotions have settled on both ends. It's important not to storm off if you're feeling overwhelmed. Instead, and communicate to your partner why you feel it's best to take a step back. So, yeah, I'm quick to drop off the phone, and yeah, so maybe sending a quick text, is the best way to come back to the issue at another time. Say, hey, give me a moment. I'll call you back. Or if you're face to face, I need some space before I can have this discussion. You might find that after taking some space, you're both able to communicate better and resolve the issue. And that's the most important part. So I just want you to take this. I know it was a little longer than I normally do, but it's just one of my motivational pieces. And leave me some feedback and let me know how you feel. How do you handle your emotions when it comes to your relationships? Now, I want to get deeper and deeper into this conversation as well. We have to practice on our insecurities. That's one of the tips that wasn't there, but we have to work on our inner selves before we jump into these relationships, because a lot of these emotions come from unhealed people. Seek some therapy, people. Stop jumping into these relationships when you are mentally unavailable, insecure, and not ready. So the next time, it's your girl, Miss Maggie T, with Maggie T Mental Health and Wellness. And I appreciate you guys. Leave some feedback, subscribe to the channel, and I appreciate you.